So we were out drilling a well, I believe it was 2 days ago, and I noticed something while I went up to change out a drill rod. I'm always very vigilant when it comes to paying attention to my gauges, and up here, my voltmeter, this is a 24 volt system, and typically it charges at 28 volts. Well, I noticed the needle doing this number. It was going all the way up to 32. And I said, well, that ain't normal. Then I started noticing if I slowed my RPM down, my RPM gauge would do this. It would just sit there and go crazy. So I called the rig technician down in Hickory, North Carolina, talked to him, and he said that the RPMs are driven off of the alternator. So if the regulator in the alternator goes bad, it'll start throwing excess unnecessary voltage to the batteries. Well, this rig has some massive batteries. I mean, just that's my hand in comparison to one of them. I don't even know what the cranking amps are on one of these things. 1755 times 2. So these are really big batteries. So we opted to call our local cat place and say, hey, we need to get a remand alternator. So Dad woke up early this morning, went up there to pick up my alternator at I don't know, 7:30, get it all the way back here, and there's no pulley on it. So we had to turn around, go all the way back to South Hill, get a pulley off of our old alternator, and then bring it here so we can put it on. So right now I'm waiting for Mike. He's coming back with just the pulley. I've never purchased a implement that runs off of a belt on any piece of equipment and had a pulley not be on it. It's just, I just think, I don't know, it's just odd. Maybe big heavy duty stuff just requires that, I don't know. But it was a little frustrating because you spend an hour and 20 minutes going around getting something and then come back and you can't even put it on yet. So this is the new alternator. Now we've got two wires that go to this lug here. This comes off. That may be a grounding spot. I'm gonna go ahead and take my wire wheel and clean all the paint off the back side of these where it bolts up to the pivoting bolt and then the tensioner. I'm gonna clean all this up to where she gets a solid ground. But I think this right here was the RPM pickup, and if I'm correct, it may not have been on the wire, because when we took it off, this little thing here is like a push. It doesn't have threads. I don't know if y'all can see that. That little pin right there does not have threads. So the clip that goes on it, it's like a one-way clip. You just push it on and it's kind of tapered in such a way where it doesn't want to pull off. Well, I think maybe vibration had that pop off. That may have been giving me the false RPM signal. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if I had a bad alternator or not. You know, I'm just learning that this is what drives my RPM gauge. So once Mike gets back, we'll go ahead and drive the pulley on here and get this thing on, and then we'll go out and we'll cut us a hole, and hopefully everything works as it should. So this piece here bolts to the side of the alternator, and then that's what it's supposed to look like. And then here's the other end. So it had broken off of that eyelet, and that sits just like so, and that's it. So we got the new piece here, which is nice. I noticed that this has got some play in it. It's like they've drilled it out to 5/8 or something, and it's only a 1/2 inch bolt. So I'm gonna see if I can find something that will take up the difference inside of here, like a shim copper tubing or some. But we're gonna take this over there, get this all swapped around, and when Mike comes here, we'll be ready to go. Okay, so we've got our pulley. Pulley's got a keyway on it, but the shaft has no keyway. It's kind of crazy because hopefully just tension on the bolt holds that. I may drop a little Loctite on it. But I took this little 1/2 inch copper tubing, drops right in there. Let's see if the shaft fits. Hot dog. I'll take up a little bit of the slack, because that was way too much. And maybe, I'm kind of curious, I wonder if it went through the other one.
It might be right there. And then that bolt went through there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the bolt was through the other one. Kind of crazy.
You know, stick it up by and see.
I wonder if it's like if it used to be 1/2 inch on both sides and just vibration over time wore it out that sloppy. But I don't know. We'll go put it up there and we'll see. All right, folks. Brand new alternator installed. Belt's nice and tight. Tensioner's on. My little copper tubing trick worked really well. I've got the RPM pickup pressed on all the way. I'll have to make sure that wire never comes off in the future, but at least now, from my own knowledge, I know what that little wire is to. All this stuff my dad knows, because he's been doing this for 40 years, but me, I'm all brand new to it, so I'm going to have to start knowing how stuff works. I've always been the one to work on it, but never been the one to really ask questions. I just know if it's broke, I can fix it, you know? But a lot of times I like to take stuff apart to see why it broke and to understand it. That's why I'm good at explaining stuff. Get our latch. Okay, get the other latch. And we'll get on up out of here. Late start to the day. But we'll get it knocked out. Now the last well we just got off of was 465 foot, and the one before that was 285. And then I think the one before that was 165. We had, I believe, 700 or 800 feet on a brand new bit and a brand new hammer. So because the hammer is brand new, the barrel's brand new, everything's large, I'm gonna run a brand new bit today. So we're gonna swap out a new bit. I didn't want to run a resharpened bit because the overall diameter of that isn't really 6 1/8 anymore. It's probably closer to 6 inches. So that'll wear the chuck and the barrel out prematurely. So I'm gonna try to run a couple brand new bits over the next few weeks. And that will help kind of wear the hammer in, and we'll cut super fast. We cut so fast with a brand new hammer, brand new QL60 and new bits. So I'm gonna go ahead, quit here. We're gonna head on out to the job site. We'll fire it up and make sure everything runs good. All right, so we are here. Got the rig. It's a really tight turn in for the water truck because I'm sitting right at a gate, but I gotta figure out where the well location is. I see a little stake right there. Not sure if that's it or not. But we just finished drilling a well about, I don't know, 1,000 feet through the woods that way. First time I set casing was at 47 foot. I was already like 20 foot into granite. And then at 54 foot, I ran through about a 20 foot layer of nothing but sandstone. So I had to rip the casing out of the ground, and I went through more granite, more sandstone, just multiple layers of both. So I opted to just keep drilling, and I set 97 foot of casing. Probably only needed to set about 87 foot, but I just kept cutting it because I was afraid of running into potential bad water. So luckily, drilling that one, it gives me an idea for this one. That way I'll know what I need to do here. Even if I encounter granite at 18 foot, I'm just going to keep chunking it because I know down at that 55 to 65 foot mark, I'm going to have a layer of sandstone. Looks like we got a lot of stuff to clean up here, so I think the well's going to go here. So there's not anywhere for me to turn around in here because of all the trees, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pull in and then back all the way in here. Should be perfect. That way at the end, once I have water and everything's good, just pull right on out. Cool, we both made it in here nice and tight. Tight squeeze between the tree there, and I've got this tree here I've got to worry about. I think I'm gonna have to go up and limit up a little bit. I can't have it get in the way. I'm pulling casing. I think I'll be all right. I might need to just clean that little branch up there. But Jackson, we're gonna put 2 pieces of wood under each pad. We might need some more under the front. I'm not sure. Front looks a little low. Well, they're taking out casing. We know we're going to set minimum 87 foot today. I'm going to go ahead and fire this thing up. Hope to God everything works so good on it. Yay! Normally it sits right at 28. Not sitting at 28. I have to monitor that. wood in there. It all pushed it down into the ground. I kept adding more. Hopefully we'll be all right. I'm gonna go ahead and raise the mast up. If it keeps sinking, I'm gonna lower it back down. flush out all the rock. So we went ahead and tripped out. We stopped at 80 foot. Let's go ahead and set 80 foot of casing. I don't have a tripod or any sort of camera holder today, so I got to do it all with my hands. So that's why the video is a little different. Already got 60 foot here, got 20 more foot to go. The hole so we don't drop nothing down. This right here is a good button, right? Look how flat that one is. That one's really flat as well. That's a dull bit. That thing has run about 800, 900 feet. Going on. All right, done with the bit man. Almost at 80 foot. This is where I stopped drilling with the bigger hammer. So 3 foot above that is where this one will start firing. Want to make sure the casing's not rotating. Once I get down about another 4 foot, it's going to burp. All the water's going to flow around the outside of the casing. That flushes all the grit away from the seal. Then it'll start drilling. Nice and clean all the way down. Casing was already sitting on the bottom. I turn my water back down, turn that through. Check my rotation pressure. I'm going to keep it under 600. My down feed around 500. Air pressure is going to come up to around 330. I get this rod down, I bring it back up. That aligns the casing with the hole. It's always good after you drill your first 20 foot, after setting casing, to pull your bit back up through into the casing, to center the casing in the hole. But sometimes it'll be sitting off to the side, and then you'll have a lip. You gotta worry about that lip on catching. So when you bring it back up, rotate the bit. Bring it up. That way, if it does catch the lip, the rotation will roll it right off. Then the hammer and the bit and everything will center the casing back up in the hole. Then you go back on down, you keep drilling, and you're good to go. Rotating, we know we got to bring it up about 7 foot to get the hammer and the bit inside the casing. So what we do, we bring it up to a point about right there. Now we watch the casing very carefully. We want to make sure that it doesn't lift. Alright, I'm up inside of it. I centered the casing in the hole. It didn't catch the lip, so we're good. Now we're going to bring it on down. Look how pretty that water is already. Okay. Now we're good to go. We'll shut off our water, shut off our air. I'm going to drill another 20 foot, and then me and Mike are going to push on the casing to make sure it's on the bottom. It's already on the bottom, I know that, but we just do it out of habit. But I'm going to keep drilling. If anything changes, I'll let you know. All right, well, we are 225 feet in the ground right now. The inspector just left. We just finished grouting the well. I'll give you a little peek here. Ooh, got our little grout protection plate over top of it. Doesn't really need it because we're letting it set up over the night. It's there nonetheless. We're only making about 1.5 gallons a minute. If you walk about 900 feet directly through the woods there, that's where we just drilled a 465 footer. So the likelihood of having one about that depth is probably pretty high. A lot of them back here, 500-600 feet. Some of them are in the 300 foot range, but I still got 9 more rods to cut tomorrow. So we'll come back, cut 9 more rods. Hopefully we get enough to run this house. And if we do, we'll be good. If not, we'll be coming back for a 3rd day and we'll bring more steel. So we'll see you tomorrow. All right, we're back. It's the next day. The grout settled a wee little bit in that one little pocket. So Mike's got the granular. We're about to pour some in there. That's good. We'll just save it till the end. Just kick it around it with your foot. There you go. First little bit of water that hits that, it'll cut right and lock right up. Hopefully the hole's full, even though it doesn't make much. Yeah. Hopefully we'll find some more. Fire in the hole. exactly right now. Not making a considerable amount more water. I'll know more once I get to the bottom of this rod. I'll shut my injection water off. Let's go ahead and turn it up right now. That way I'll flush the hole. We'll see what we're making in about 10 minutes. Well, I shut the rig off. We're making maybe 3/4 gallon a minute. So it's only about 1,000 gallons a day. Yesterday when I left here, I probably didn't let it blow long enough. I thought we were making about 1.5 gallons. That probably would have been enough to suffice for this house. But you know, everybody wants more. Everybody wants 3 or 5 or 10 or whatever they can get. But situations like this, you just, you know, got to keep drilling and keep looking for more. The well next door, 800 feet away, 1,000 feet away, we hit water at 465. So we'll bring back more steel tomorrow and we'll keep cutting. All right, well, day 3. Got a pile of grit here and a bunch of rods to cut. So hopefully we only got to cut 3 because Mike's got to be out of here today by 2 o'clock. He's got an appointment. And I'm the only one besides him with a CDL license. So we got to try to get this done. We're going to dig it out, get as much of the grit out as we can so we can cut a few rods without having to dig, get the water to flow away. Hopefully we have a full hole of water this morning, or a hole full of water this morning. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to quit talking, help these guys dig, help them set up, and then we'll get everything started. All right, out of breath. Got it all dug out, all the way down to the grout. You can see that. Because we're going beyond 400 feet today, we've got a check valve out. Here's our check valve. So what this does, this allows all the drill steel below the 400 foot mark to hold the compressed air, to where when you hook up or disconnect, you don't have to bleed all the air pressure out of 400 foot of drill stem to 0. This will balance it out at like 180, 200 psi in the lower portion. So when you turn the air compressor back on, it doesn't have to fill that entire volume back up with air. It's actually a lot faster. You probably save 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute every rod. But I've actually placed an order for some brand new drill rods. That'll be coming up here in about a month and a half. They're supposed to be special. They call them X-Flow drill rods, but I'll do a full series on those and basically voice my opinion on them. They're supposed to be plastic lined, so inside of them it'll have like a Delrin plastic or something that lowers the center hole. Instead of it being like 3 inches on the inside of a 4-inch rod, it decreases it down to whatever the diameter is of the threads. So you may have 3 inches in here and it reduced to say 1.25 inches at the connection itself. And because it's lined with the plastic, it's supposed to make it 60% quieter, which everybody in the video, you know, like dealing with noise is my biggest issue. So if I can get drill rods that cut faster and are 60% quieter, it's just a benefit all the way around. It's just something new. And since I'm paying for it out of my own pocket, I'll be able to give you an honest opinion on how they work. All right, let's fire this thing up. Maybe. That first drop. At 420 right now. Just went to a soft zone. When air pressure drops, when your air pressure drops, that means it went to an area that took your air away. Pumping out water and I hook up the next rod. All right, right now we are on rod that rod would be 400 or 545 feet. I believe we just hit large volumes of water.
Wasn't too happy about having to go deep, but just hit it on that rod. I thought I had water at around 460, but it shut off. It only lasted for about 5 minutes, and then it dwindled down to nothing. You see, my pressures are still pretty high. Pressures are up a little higher because it's having to overcome the amount of water pouring into the well. Wow, look at that. That is a lot of water. Probably got a solid 10 gallon a minute well there. I'm only going to drill one more rod. That'll make the well 565 feet. We'll call it there. I don't want to stop here because I'm probably only 10 foot off the vein, and I don't want it to stop over time. That way we'll get a good solid 30 foot after where we hit water, and we'll be golden. Hot dog, we got water, y'all. All right, we are completed. That's 565 feet to ground. Looks like we're making probably 25 gallons a minute. I've already stamped it at 10 gallons a minute. Told the homeowner it was probably 10, 12, something like that. But basing on how much water this is, it's a 2-foot wide path. A 1-inch wide path is typically a gallon a minute. It's just a lot of water. I think we hit some water at like 5:30. I think we actually hit more as we kept going. I started getting rocks out of the ground like this from down deep. When you start hitting, a vein of water, the rock is going to break off in large chunks. For 500 feet, you get this stuff. And then when you hit water, you get this stuff. Kind of crazy. All right, so we have got the 200 foot of steel on the truck pulled out, and I wanted to make this for anybody who wants to run a check valve if you're curious. Now, normally you don't have to do what I'm about to do here, but if you hit large volumes of water like I did today, you have to do this. So normally you would have your check valve right here, and you'd break that joint right there. Well, right now, if you were to break that joint and lift it up, all the water pressure down in the ground has created pressure inside the drill stem, and if you pull this up, the guts of the check valve will actually shoot out of the check valve and into the air. You'll be lucky if you don't get hit by it. So because we have all that water, what we've got to do, got to bring that rod up there, and we have to break it below it and vent off the pressure. So I'll show you what I mean. Hopefully it doesn't break up here. It shouldn't. All right. Now, since I have a floating sub up top, I've got to bring my chain down so the floating sub doesn't lift. Figure out where bottom is. Right there, that's bottom. So now we're going to sit here and vent off the pressure. Take a step back, Jack. All right. We're going to slowly lift. Not sure if y'all can actually see that or hear that on camera. But now, all the air pressure is vented out. It wasn't as bad as it has been in the past. So now we got to tighten that back up. Now we pick it up, we go back down, and we're going to break it like normal. Doing all this with one hand so I can film with the other hand. All right. that's it. You see, this is the check valve I was talking about. Now, if you look down in there, those are the guts. That whole ring right there around the outside, everything will shoot out. So you always got to be paying attention when you hit large volumes of water. So go ahead, put our cap in it. Go ahead, thread that in, and you go put it in the bucket bin. Careful. Now we are almost completely pulled out. We've got 4 rods left, plus the length of the hammer. That puts me at 85 feet down in the hole. We originally set 80 feet of PVC casing. Now this is what's important. We do not want the hammer to catch the casing lip at the bottom, or it'll lift it up, and you'll break the seal. So right now I'm 5 foot away from it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna rotate, and we're gonna slowly pull up that first 5 foot. That way, if it does catch the lip, the rotation rolls it off of it. And you're pulling so slow that you can actually hear the hydraulics load up if you do catch it. All right, we're beyond that point now, so we're just gonna keep on bringing it on up. So if you remember back to the beginning of the video, I showed you what a bit looked like that had went about 800 to 1,000 feet. This one right here has only seen 565 feet. That one's pretty flat. Those look pretty good. These are getting flat. So we only get about 600 foot before you got to resharpen them. Yee doggy. Whew. That was a job. That was a absolute job. Alright, well the rig's forward, the casing's been cut off, chlorine's been added, and now we have a shit ton of wood to dig out. Not only do we got to get the 3 pieces on top, we've got 5 pieces pushed down into the dirt down there. I swore they must have put us in a stump hole. Made me so nervous. This rig's been sitting here for 3 days, and I'm like, man, I don't like sitting on top of a stump hole, because then, you know, it could settle, dirt can push away from it, all sorts of stuff. I think I pushed in 3, and then I added another, and then I added another, and then I added a stack on top of it just to compensate for it, but it is what it is. All right, well, I'm gonna end it off here. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace. See, if you take a look here, this is the rock, like the aquifer rock. And we got some here that is quartz. And then if you notice, like the green pigment beside the blue pigment of the granite, the green is naturally where you find your water at. So it looks like we found water probably in like a quartz vein and a granite vein, and then that's your green granite from all your water. But it's just a big difference between material like this and then material like that.
That's what you drill through, and then that's what you find water in. Really good stuff.